All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Joy Reid is out. Kash Patel is in. Trump keeps going. It's time to get into it. Let's rock. This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina number one for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description. The Urban Conservative is sponsored in part by Gyra Family Farms, providing your family with fresh meat, eggs, poultry, produce, and so much more. Visit gyrafamilyfarm.net to find out about their summer farm camp program, events and classes, and their exclusive Farm Share membership, which will give you 15% off all your purchases. Again, visit gyrafamilyfarm.net.
Welcome to the Urban Conservative Podcast, where we do not believe that avocado toast can save the planet or the world will end, because cars use gasoline. You won't hear that Wi-Fi is a basic human right, or that billionaires are secretly supervillains. Here, we do not believe that electric cars run on hopes and dreams. You also won't hear that anyone who disagrees with us is a fascist, or that socialism will make everyone rich. You won't be gender affirmed or offered any opportunity to share your preferred pronouns. If this causes you any discomfort, please rest assured that we couldn't possibly care less. For everyone else, thank you, and please stand by.
My fellow Americans, it's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. This is without a doubt the best podcast on the internet. It's about to go down here on the Urban Conservative.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It is a Monday night. It is time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, in the building. Got to give a big shout out to my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Raheem Architect Soto, who is out in the field, plugging away, working hard tonight, ladies and gentlemen. TUconservative.com is the website. You can support our mission of sharing conservative values and principles, as well as the benefits of conservative policies to urban communities across this great nation by visiting TUconservative.com. You can sponsor the platform, get yourself an ad. We also help campaigns and candidates, so make sure you look out for that. We wanted to start out tonight with a special message, a special heads up. Don't know if you know what's going on, but you do not need to be in North Carolina to support Krishana Polite, our homegirl, friend of the show, former chief of staff for the office of the lieutenant governor. I just got an update from her mom. She is going in tomorrow to have some procedures done to find out about getting the bullet that was lodged in her shoulder removed on Wednesday. First procedure will be at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Then the second procedure will start at 2. If you don't know what's going on, she was struck by a bullet on New Year's Eve up in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. So make sure the link to the GoFundMe is in the description or in the chat of this show if you're able to contribute to help our good friend Krishana out through a very difficult time. Strong conservative female, strong pro-Trump. Was proud to work with her and support of Black Voices for Trump in 2020, and she's just an inspiration to so many of us. So make sure you keep Krishana in your prayers. Also, as well, if you're able to contribute to the GoFundMe in support of her, the link is in the chat to this podcast. It'll be in there on the back end as well. We'll make sure we get that link out, ladies and gentlemen. But man, what an amazing week thus far. I know it's only Monday and you're like, what an amazing week. Yeah, already off to a good start, folks. A lot going on. I got to tell you, if you didn't know, I had the opportunity to be in the building at the White House last Thursday. Now, I got to tell you, friends, it is always an honor and a privilege to spend time at the White House. I got to give a big up to my friends from the Frederick Douglass Foundation of North Carolina. Was a wonderful opportunity to meet so many good patriots there at the White House. As you can see, Sage Steele was in the building. So many other wonderful folks. Had a chance to run into Kim Klacik. There you go. Kim Klacik was in the building. Got to meet the judge. Joe Brown was also in the building. Shouts out to Kevin Daniels. Just so many amazing people in the building that night in D.C. Just got to give a big shout out for all of that. Wonderful opportunity to celebrate Black History Month there at the White House, which is interesting because that was actually President Trump's first event, was celebrating Black History Month at the White House. Go figure. His first event would be to celebrate Black History Month at the White House with a bunch of Black folk. Yeah, interesting enough. But one of the things I do want to make sure that we're talking about, because Black History Month is almost over. I'll be on Queen City News this coming Friday. I participated in a panel discussion with the president of Johnson C. Smith University, the chairman of the Mecklenburg County Commission, and a lady that actually worked for the Kamala Harris campaign. That was an interesting dialogue. That special will be airing Friday on Queen City News. I was excited to participate in that, obviously, as the only conservative on the panel. It felt like a little 5-on-1. Yeah, it felt like a little 5-on-1, but we handled ourselves. We did our thug thizzle in there, and we held it down, talking about this shift we saw among minority voters going towards the Republican Party. So dope opportunity. We'll share that here on the podcast, on the platform, when that comes out, ladies and gentlemen. Super excited about that. Now let's go ahead and deal with the elephant in the room. Joy Reid is out at MSNBC. The readout is out, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Race Baiter in chief herself is done over on MSNBC. And she is, when I say getting clowned, right? When I say clowned, she is getting clowned for this breakdown she had on TV. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, why she was canceled. But y'all take a look at this.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country.
So the you got fired and you still won't stop, right? It's bizarre to me that you lose your job for this very same thing and you won't stop. And the other part that I find interesting is the way she could just cut the tears off. That's almost psychotic to me. How she's like smiling and laughing and then no more tears.
Whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. But
you won't say anything. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. because you're completely okay with American babies being slaughtered. You're completely okay with American children not being able to read, coming out of schools functionally illiterate. You're completely okay. I don't see y'all talking about the murders that are happening in Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Atlanta. You're not talking about any of that. All you talk about is white people bad, orange man bad. So the other thing that I found interesting about this, right, is that she said what she did had value. Okay. And the interesting thing that I find about her saying that her show had value was the ratings. Now we're going to read this out, okay? Because what I don't want to do is put words in people's mouth, okay? This story came out today in Newsweek, and I want us to read through this story in Newsweek because it makes sense when you say what you do has value. MSNBC host Joy Reid, who spent years criticizing President Trump, is the latest news anchor to experience a career setback since the Republican return to office. The liberal-leaning network is canceling the Reid Out and replacing it with a panel show hosted by Democratic strategist Simone Sanders Townsend, writer and host Alicia Melendez, and Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee. A source familiar with the situation told Newsweek. Reid appeared to confirm that a show had been canceled on social media, writing on Blue Sky in the early hours of this morning Eastern time that she would present the Reid Out one more time. Newsweek contacted MSNBC and Reid for comment via email. Reid is not the only casualty at the left-leaning news network, struggling in the ratings since Trump began his second term in January. In January, CNN anchor Jim Acosta, who gained a reputation for antagonizing questions towards Trump during the first term, announced he was leaving the network after 20 years. His decision came after CNN said it would move his 10 a.m. show to midnight to 2 a.m. Other words, when nobody's watching, because ain't nobody watching. The shakeup at CNN is part of a larger reshuffling at the network as it laid off 6% of its workforce. But while the efforts to ramp up its digital strategies come amid a general decline in cable news viewership, it also comes at the beginning of a new Trump era. John Pitney, a veteran political scientist and former Republican National Committee official, previously told Newsweek that while ratings could have been a factor in CNN moving Acosta show, politics also have been part of the picture. I want to go down here to where it says the Reid Out suffered a major slumps in ratings since the 2024 election. Nielsen Media research revealed that Reid's show averaged about 759,000 viewers in early December, a 47% decline from the 1.4 million average it achieved in the 2024 leading up to Election Day. On February 20th, the show had around 778 viewers, while Fox News' Laura Ingraham attracted 3.4 million. Okay, there are YouTubers who get 800,000 views a video, ladies and gentlemen. There are YouTubers who do better than that. Okay, that is a bizarre thing to pay somebody six figures when there are YouTubers and podcasters. Joe Rogan's got a bigger audience than that regularly. So I don't necessarily blame CNN. It's a business decision. And then you also got to think, I mean, let's be real. America is what, 70% white? How do you propose to continue going when you're dissing half your 70% of the audience all the time? So, look, Joy Reid is out, ladies and gentlemen. That is what's going on. Can't say good riddance enough. We'll be right back after this very quick commercial break here on the Urban Conservative. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about Kash Patel, the new FBI director, on the other side of this commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Urban Conservative. Don't go nowhere. The Urban Conservative is sponsored in part by Gyra Family Farms, providing your family with fresh meat, eggs, poultry, produce, and so much more. Visit GyraFamilyFarm.net to find out about their summer farm camp program, events and classes, and their exclusive Farm Share membership, which will give you 15% off all your purchases. Again, visit GyraFamilyFarm.net to find out more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Got to give a big, massive shout out to Emmanuel and Valerie over at Joy Reid Family Farms. If you are in the Durham and surrounding area, that is where you need to go to get your fresh meat, poultry, eggs, all of that good stuff, the teas, the herbs. They got a summer camp program and so many wonderful things going on over at Joy Reid Family Farms. So again, shouts out to them. JoyReidFamilyFarm.net is the website. Make sure you go support them if you happen to be in and around the Durham, North Carolina area. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 days ago, you see it on the screen, Kash Patel, now Director Patel, first Indian American to be appointed to the position of FBI Director, is the official FBI Director. Now, I'm going to tell you who I think got a problem. Y'all let me know if y'all agree with this or not. Watch Back Crew, let me know. But I think the person with the biggest problem right now is Adam, the shiftiest Schiff. Okay. And the reason I think Adam Shifty, the Shift, has a problem is because he consistently lied to the American people and to Congress about evidence regarding Trump, Russia. One of the biggest money guys in DC. Something's got to be going on here. I don't think you can get away with lying for that long and not have a problem. I think you're going to seriously, Adam Schiff has a problem. And I'm going to share with you a little montage, okay, of why I think Adam Schiff has got a problem.
Do you have direct evidence of collusion with Russia?
There is direct evidence. There's abundant evidence of collusion, persistent allegations that the Russians have been laundering money through the Trump organization.
Continues to believe Russian propaganda. That makes him dangerous to our country.
Donald Trump and his campaign colluded with the Russians.
There is ample evidence of collusion.
There is significant evidence, much of it in the public domain, on the issue of collusion.
Certainly say with confidence that there is significant evidence of collusion. Ample evidence in the public domain on the issue of collusion.
You said there's circumstantial evidence.
I would not say, I would not phrase it the way that you did. And circumstantial evidence can be very powerful.
Do I need to go any further than that, ladies and gentlemen? The guy's got a problem. If what I think is going to happen with Kash Patel now being the FBI director, that guy's got a massive problem. I think you also got to keep in mind there's going to be major movement at the FBI because you've seen so many people get moved around at the FBI. Okay. Basically, a couple of thousand people have moved to basically the FBI version of, Antarctica. Shift them down to Huntsville. So you've got, I think, a lot going to happen this particular cycle, especially with people like Adam, the shiftiest Schiff, who basically have it coming. So Kash Patel's in. This is going to be an interesting take. I think you're going to end up seeing a lot of people from that January 6th committee. I think you're going to see a lot of FBI agents out of jobs. I think you're going to see a restructuring as it should be. But I also think that that people like Adam Schiff, who came out time after time after time and lied to Congress, lied to the American people, should be held accountable. We never got a whistleblower testifying. We never got this ample evidence, as he said, of Russia-Trump collusion. We just never saw it. It never happened. So let me know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Does Adam Shifty the Schiff have a problem now that Kash Patel is in? Do you think that he's going to be able to restore confidence back in the American people, back in the FBI? Let us know what you think. We're going to take one more quick commercial break here on the Urban Conservative Podcast. We're going to come right back. We're just going to update y'all a little bit about what's going on with Trump and all the winning. We'll be right back here on the Urban Conservative. Y'all do not move a muscle. This season of the Urban Conservative is brought to you by Homium, helping to build generational wealth for historically disadvantaged groups, low-income households, and first-time homebuyers. Homium is helping to bridge the affordability gap for home ownership in your community. Visit homium.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, rocking with you. Look, folks, this is just the bottom line here. In case you missed it, The federal departments are touting results after the first month in office. We want to run through some of this real quick, just so y'all know what's happening. This is as of 3 days ago. Department of Homeland Security celebrated their remarkable success securing the American homeland, restoring law and order as they bring safety to communities in 1 month. This is at DHS.gov. In 1 month, daily border encounters have plunged 93%. ICE arrest of criminals have doubled. You heard that right. 93% decrease in border encounters. And they've doubled the amount of arrests that ICE is conducting. The Department of Interior outlined the steps they've taken to fulfill Trump's mandate on unleashing American energy, protecting public lands, and advancing prosperity. So let's take a look at this. Unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. They've achieved prosperity through deregulation. So the rule is for every new regulation, you need to cut 10. The President Trump's revocation of former Outer Continental Shelf withdrawals. They're delivering American price relief for American families and defeating the cost of living crisis. So you all should see prices coming down sooner than later. And then unleashing American energy, as you know, drill, baby, drill. This is a big one. People are talking about this all over the place. Department of Education. So now they eliminated, and this is, look, I had this conversation that I mentioned to y'all with the president of Johnson C. Smith. And look, is it fair to say that Black people in America have been historically behind? Sure. But what's the best thing to fix that problem? Is it DEI as it exists now? I don't think so, because only 4% of people that benefited from DEI projects were Black. The biggest beneficiary of DEI have been white women. So you can see that. Obviously returned to the 2020 Title IX rule, launched investigation in the Denver public schools for converting the girls' restroom to an all-gender facility, launched investigations into 5 universities for reported widespread anti-Semitism, joined the DOJ task force to combat anti-Semitism, canceled an additional $350 million in unnecessary spending, and cut $369 million in divisive training grants. HUD, one of my favorite departments, as you can see, what's going down. Restored Doge task force launched, 1.9 billion in misplaced funds found, identified 260 million in contract savings, stopped HUD funding for illegal aliens, so much more. They marked a return to the core mission. Yeah, we don't even got to talk about everything that's happening with USAID. Department of State under Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, is actually doing their thing. USAID is now going to be housed under the Department of State, which I think is a good move if you want to keep track of where all of our tax dollars are going. The Department of Transportation is eliminating overbearing regulatory burdens and restoring consumer choice as it brings the department's focus back to where it belongs. And I don't know if y'all heard about Trump putting the kibosh on New York City's congestive pricing scheme, which basically costs the working people in New York more money. The Department of Defense is actually, Hegseth is doing his thing. He's been out there constantly. And I know that they're looking at cost savings inside of the Department of Defense. So we look forward to seeing what happens there. HHS Undersecretary RFK, common sense, basic biology back. One of the things I'll say about this, and I think, look, the American people don't want to have, look, me for an example, I don't care if a grown man wants to transition into a woman. I don't care. Most people don't care. I taught my children to be respectful of people. If somebody wants to be called a name, you call them that name. I'm going to call you whatever you want me to call you. But I think there's a point where a line has to be drawn. Okay. And I think that's just where most American people are. Don't do this to the children. I had a conversation the other day with somebody and they were talking about a homosexual child. And my thought was, that is not, you shouldn't be talking about children and sexuality. Those just two things don't belong together. That's not what we need to be talking about. Children need to be learning how to read, write, and do math. Okay, that's just basic bottom line is because you end up in a situation like we are now where our children are essentially graduating high school functionally illiterate in a lot of cases. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just an update straight from the horse's mouth about what's happening. You can see so much good stuff coming out of the White House. I think what we need to make sure we're doing is not I've said this to some of my friends in the middle, that are unaffiliated voters, and I'll say this to a lot of my Democrat friends too. We don't it's really about making sure that our policy positions and the things that we're doing are benefiting the American people. That is the bottom line, folks. It does us no good to have the presidency, have the Senate, have the House if we're not going to do what is best for the American people. Point blank, period. So make sure that you're writing your congressman, you're reaching out to your elected officials, you're doing what's necessary to hold those folks accountable. And look, don't get sloppy. Midterms are coming up sooner than later. We're going to be right back in election season before you know it. And we're going to be needing to make sure that we can hold on to these majorities. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, again, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for the Queen City news special that I participated in. We're going to be getting that out there. We're going to be promoting the Frederick Douglass Foundation has a major Juneteenth event coming up here. And then my brother has a major announcement. We'll wait for him to come back on. But this is super exciting times here at the Urban Conservative. If you want to support our mission, not just online, but in these streets, we out in these streets, making sure we share the conservative message. You can do that by visiting tuconservative.com, Cash App, $TU Conservative. Every buck helps us keep doing the things that we do to share this conservative message. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, rocking with you. We will be live and direct next Monday night. Shouts out to everybody who supports what we do. We'll see you out there in them streets, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love, y'all. The Urban Conservative is sponsored in part by Gyra Family Farms, providing your family with fresh meat, eggs, poultry, produce, and so much more. Visit GyraFamilyFarm.net to find out about their summer farm camp program, events and classes, and their exclusive Farm Share membership, which will give you 15% off all your purchases. Again, visit GyraFamilyFarm.net to find out more.